How you doing?
What's up, bud?
Not too bad. Start.
Of course, though, it happens when I'm not there. So I don't get to be in Oklahoma City just celebrating with everybody. Ironically enough, when I was stationed here the first time, when the dude that owns the Thunder bought him. And when he bought him, I said, look, he's gonna pull a fast one on Seattle so that he can relocate him. And I knew that's what he would do. He was going to ask me to buy it or to build a new arena, and that was in the contract. And if they refused to do so, then he could move them. So as soon as it happened, I knew they were moving to Oklahoma City, and I told my brother, I'll pay for them. Just go get us season tickets right now, because I was stationed here the first time. I was like, we got to hold on to them, because I was like, these dudes, because we had Kevin Durant. That's when they drafted Westbrook and Jordan.
Hayden, yeah.
I was like, dude, they're going to be good, man. And eventually we're not going to be able to get season tickets. Obviously, that never panned out. I mean, we won. We were in the Western Conference Finals a lot, and we did make a couple finals or a finals. But anyway, I did. And my brother never did it, man. And I'm like, damn, I could have season tickets that right now. Obviously, I'm here and wouldn't have been able to go, but I could have made a mint selling them to those games.
Yeah.
But it's good to see Oklahoma City get the win. It was a tough-fought battle all the way through Game 7. Indiana is no joke. I think if Halliburton doesn't go down with the Achilles and not –
That was nasty.
Yeah, I think if he doesn't go down, that game could have been different. But it is what it is, and it is the nature of the game, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll tell you, the one person I wish was still on the team so that he could relish in it. Actually, probably two, because I'll give Westbrook his dues as well. I don't think he necessarily wanted to leave Oklahoma City. I think he was kind of forced out so they could rebuild and get a younger team. But Steven Adams, the Kiwi, because that dude was a workhorse.
Yeah.
He still is. But he was probably one of my favorite guys in Oklahoma City at that time, because he just worked hard, dude. Just worked. But anyway, we're not on here to talk about basketball.
No.
I wanted to give a shout out to the Oklahoma City Thunder for winning the NBA championship this year. At least it wasn't the Lakers.
To be fair, so since somebody came and thinks he's the next coming of Jesus, I've not been as big a Lakers fan as I used to be anyway.
Yeah.
The sooner he goes, the sooner I start becoming more of a fan again. But I just said, we're here to talk about something else. Oh.
We are here to talk about something else.
Yeah.
Let's talk about another set of champions.
Yeah. Signature 5.
All right. Start us off, brother.
It started on a Friday with the women's seniors and juniors doubles. So we'll start off with the seniors first. So bracket A, that was won by Frank Modlin and Damon Dennis over Eric Cooper and Benjamin Frederick. And then bracket B, Chucky Love and Ron Kurgel avoided the double dip against Donald Cupp and Dan Sholton. And then, as they do, Frank and Damon took down the senior doubles title there. That was same day on that one. And then women's doubles, bracket A, Cheyenne Bubenheim and Gina Ramirez beat Rosie Streaker and Sam Finley. And then bracket B, the two-time guests, Laurie and Miranda, pulled off the double dip against Sarah Cassidy and Elizabeth Tedderson in a Queen's Seat rematch. And then the final for that was Sunday, and Laurie and Miranda from 12-5 down, 17-point run to win and get the second signature. Oh.
Hell yeah.
It's girls.
To the ladies.
Yeah.
So now, obviously, it immediately as that happened, John Wishart messages us.
Yeah.
Get the girls back on, man. So I messaged Miranda, and I know we messaged Lori as well. I did message Miranda personally though, and I was like, "Hey, I think we're on to something. You girls coming on the show, you know." I said, "Since you've been on the show, you have 2 signature wins and a bracket runner up." And she said, "Yeah, she thinks so too." So I said, "We need to figure out a time to optimize their luck for Worlds."
For Worlds, yeah, definitely.
So whenever they want to come on, if that's going to optimize the timing of their Worlds.
Yeah, definitely. And then also on the Friday we had the juniors. So we had a bracket A, which was Sammy Soto and Ryan Trader. They pulled off the double dip against Ian Cripps and Cameron D'Ambrosia in a King Seat rematch. And then in bracket B, Jackson Jacob Gore avoided the double dip against Asher Plummet and Chase Fleischer, and that again was a King Seat rematch. And then on the Sunday, again, the finals for that, it was Sammy and Ryan who won that. And then also on the Friday, we had the pro singles brackets. So your bracket A was won by Gage Landis, who beat Jamie Graham in a King Seat rematch. Bracket B, Tony Smith double dipped Richard Nyberg in a King Seat rematch. Bracket C, Chris Roybal double dipped Mason Traitor. And Chris Roybal actually lost his first game of the day and battled all the way back through losers bracket to win that. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then rounding out, bracket D was won by Mark Richards, who beat Jordan Power, and that again was a King Seat rematch. And then your semis and your final again, they were on Sunday. Tony beat Chris, and then Mark beat Gage. So set up a final between teammates, and it was Mark Richards who come out on top to get title number 27, I believe. So
yeah, commanding lead on the title race right now.
With with one more signature and Wills to go, he's on course for hitting that 30 mark. Like you said it earlier in the season, you've said you could see him getting to 30. So
yeah, and I still believe that wholeheartedly.
It's still on.
I mean, obviously he had a chance to get number 28 in the doubles.
Yeah, we'll get to that next. Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, there's a good chance. Although I did find it funny because Tony's post on his socials right after that was like, "Holy choke."
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't see in singles on a regular. I know we've had some other people win and all that.
Yeah.
Honestly, my pick for finals for Worlds is Tony and Mark.
Yeah.
I just don't see anybody consistently beating them. Not on a regular. And the funny thing is I was watching or listening to I was behind because I wanted to listen to last week's Big Asp show with the guys on it. And they were talking about how, and of course they're just previewing 5. So at that point they don't know who did what in signature 5. But they talked about, like, if you're going to get Mark, you got to get Mark early. Like, you got to get him in bracket play. Like, if he wins his bracket, I mean, there's a good chance you're not touching him.
He's kind of like for us in the UK, John Steins. He just gets better and better throughout the day. Yeah. Right, so moving on to Saturday, so pro doubles. So bracket A, it was AJ Sims and Braden Wilson beat Jamie Graham and Jacob Trzynski, and that was a King Seat rematch. And as we mentioned that they got there, Tony Smith and Mark Richards, they beat Austin Wasco and Quinn Reeves. And bracket C, Jeremiah Ellis and Devon Harbaugh pulled off the double dip over Ryan Smith and Ryan Wiedenfeld. And if you've not watched that, I highly recommend everybody go watch that game because, in my opinion, it's a front runner for game of the year so far.
100%.
That second game, yeah.
Dude, it was so good. You messaged me when it happened, and I was at a wedding and stuff, so I didn't watch it on Saturday night. But I did watch it yesterday, and as soon as it was all going down, I was like, because you didn't tell me what match it was. All you said was, "Oh my god, did you see that? It was like match of the year." You didn't say who it was or what it was.
Yeah.
And as soon as I was watching doubles yesterday and I saw it, I was like, "Yep, that's the one he was talking about," because that was such a phenomenal match. And like, I think what made it even better was the camaraderie and like the lightheartedness between both teams. Like nobody was all like,
you wouldn't have thought it was a bracket final of a major or a signature even.
Like Ryan Smith and Jeremiah Ellis were just down there cutting up, like when Ryan fell off his stool, and like they were just having a good laugh, man. And it was
like going back to like the roots of corner, like just buddies just throwing bags in the back garden, drinking beers.
It reminded me of like what we do here in Europe, you know?
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah, we're there to win, but we're not so deadpan that we can't have a laugh, that we can't have, you know, a little bit of banter. And I thought that whole match on both sides, I thought, wow, man, this is what I like to see. I will say, Mish and Jake and them were hitting it head on, though. It was weird seeing Jamie and Devin without hats on, dude.
I think my favorite comment what somebody in the chat put was like, saying Devin looks like Cass Chandler's, just slightly taller Cass Chandler's, and he really did.
Yeah. Like, and then me said it fine. She was like, it's because Jamie's got a beard, so it's not as noticeable, or as it doesn't stand out as much as like with Devin. I mean, because I honestly, and when it first popped up on the screen, like they hadn't put the names up, and I almost didn't recognize him because you're so used to seeing him. I was like, wait a minute, who? Oh, that's Devin Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, and then bracket D, that was won by Justin Burton Jr. and Logan Chamberlain, who beat Cheyenne, Bubenheim, and Jordan Power, and that again a King's Seat rematch. And then again, finals 4 matches were on Sunday. So Mark and Tony beat AJ and Braden, and then JBJ and Logan beat Jeremiah and Devon, and then the final was won by JBJ and Logan over Mark and Tony. And again, great final.
Yeah. I wish I could have watched it. I could not get my Fire Stick to work. It's an old Fire Stick. And so I think this week I'm just going to bite the bullet and buy a new Fire Stick for the sole purpose of being able to jailbreak it and get ESPN on it. Because I refuse to fucking not see any of Signature 6 and any of fucking Worlds.
Yeah.
Like, it's not happening.
Yeah. And then Sunday, after all the broadcast stuff was done, we had a women's, seniors, and junior singles. So, starting with women's, bracket A was won by Cameron Belvin, who double dipped Caitlin Hall's house in a Queen's Seat rematch. Then bracket B, Sarah Cassidy beat Miranda Coy, again, Queen's Seat rematch. Bracket C, Rosie Streaker double dipped Cheyenne, and that was again Queen's Seat rematch. And then bracket D, Riley Schaff beat Elizabeth Tennyson. And your semis, Riley beat Sarah, Cameron beat Rosie, and then Riley beat Cameron in the final.
Riley, man, I watched some of her stuff, and even like in doubles, like women's doubles, I saw a couple, and she hit that shot, that airmail drag shot, man.
That was like that much of the bag, like not over the whole in the red zone.
It was a sick shot, and you know it's funny because obviously Lori and Miranda have talked about Riley and being one of those young girls that are up and coming, and she truly is, man. She's gonna be real daggum good, man.
Yeah, well, she had a good run of getting deep in brackets and that.
Well, and you start thinking about it because obviously when the girls were on here, we talked about making those decisions if they started only letting you play in certain things because obviously Riley could play in the juniors division.
Yeah.
But obviously she plays in the women's because that's what's going on at the exact same time. But yeah, she's something else, man. She's good.
Yeah. And then seniors, bracket A, Damon Dennis beat Scott Bennett, King Sheet rematch. Bracket B, Steve Schroeder beat Lee Tibbs, again, King Seat rematch. Bracket C, Donald Cook beat Chucky Love. And then bracket D, Dan Shelton beat Dan Klukowski in a King. Oh, he double dipped him, sorry. And that again was a King Seat rematch.
Yeah.
And then in your semis, Dan beat Damon. Close game that, 21-20.
Yeah.
And then Donald beat Steve. And then Dan beat Donald in the final. So I was hoping for Donald Cup because I had a shocking fantasy weekend. That was my last chance at getting a good points haul, but it wasn't to be.
But at least you got 2.
At least I
no,
got a few,
4.
yeah.
Yeah, you got 4, right?
Yeah. I got some runners up points, so at least I got.
Who scored the most this weekend? Did I miss that? Did we talk about that?
But who got a record breaking points haul so far for the
Yeah,
season?
yeah. I'm pretty sure. Oh, that might have been me.
Yeah.
That might have been me. That is now sitting top of the table as well with a commanding lead.
Oh. Hello?
I joined early. Do you want me to go away and then you can invite me when I'm ready?
Yes. I didn't actually think he was going to leave the conversation.
Oh, boy.
I didn't think he was actually going to go out.
I'll quickly scoot over.
Honestly, I did not think he was just going to bounce.
Right. Juniors, bracket A, Zach Aitken doubled it, Gabe Clausen. Chase, bracket B, Chase Webb beat David Phillips, King Seat rematch. Bracket C, Mason Trader avoids the double dip against Asher Plummer. And then bracket D, Cameron D'Ambrosia double dips Cass Chandlers in the King Seat rematch. And then semis, Cameron beat Mason, Zach beat Chase, and then Zach beat Cameron. So, with that, and that's the results.
Yeah. So I had a real good weekend in fantasy.
Yeah.
I mean, Micah had been blowing us out. And then you two both just had horrible injuries.
I had the early lead in the early stages, and now I'm sat bottom.
I mean,
I
had 32 points, man. Take me to the top of the table by 12 points. I'm on the lead now.
Yeah.
And round limited, anything can happen in Signature 6. But if I have another really good weekend, man, it could be real hard for people to get to overtake me, even with double point worlds.
Micah showed how easy it is to be done because he went from last to first, and then so it can all change if what one team that one of us has got just goes hot.
Yeah. It helped me a lot though because I had 2 teams in doubles.
Yeah.
With Devin and Jeremiah and LBJ and JBJ and Logan Chamberlain. So that helped.
Shall we get him back then?
Yeah, in a moment. But yeah, so yeah, we'll get him on in just a second. What else do we need to talk about before we get him on though? Do we have anything else to talk about before we get him on?
I can't think.
I don't think so. I think we wanted to recap. We did that. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get him on and get going.
Yeah. Right. Right. I'll try and bring up the thing. We can recap it. In fact, normally it does put them into a lobby, so I don't know what I've done differently this time that Ben comes straight through. So
Who knows?
It's made for a little comical moment anyway.
For sure.
Here we go. He was actually joking.
Oh, right. Oh, it's been a long day.
Well, yeah.
I was just kidding. I didn't think you were
Oh,
going to bounce.
oh, right. No worries. No worries.
Yeah.
God. How you both doing?
Yeah, not too bad yourself.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Very good.
How's Janine doing after her long walk?
Yeah, she's quite tired. She pulled all the blister plasters off her feet, and they're looking pretty horrendous. So,
How far did they walk?
47 kilometres in the Cotswolds, and just over 12 hours. So yeah, quite a slog, up and down hill and things. So
Yeah, good for her. Good for her.
Really good.
Congrats
couple
to you,
of friends.
Janine. You're a rock star.
It was an early start as well. We were up at 4 to get there because it was quite an early start. So, and then obviously because we went and got a few drinks in afterwards. So it was a late night as well.
As you do.
Yeah, as you do.
I mean, I used to do Spartan races, like obstacle course races, just for the beer at the end.
Yeah.
They gave you a free beer and a T-shirt, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm in. Let's do this."
Well, they do like walking, as do I. But they raised nearly £5,000, I think, for charity with a few bits yet to come. So a couple of the team members have lost parents to cancer in the last year or so. So Janine being one of them. So no, just really, really good cause.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I did Brave the Shave a couple years ago, and believe it or not, I had like really long hair.
Yeah.
And I set a couple goals because my ex-father-in-law, who was my boss at the time, had done it the year before, and he'd raised like something like 1,200 pounds to shave his head. So I set my goal at a minimum of 1,200 pounds to shave my head. I was like, we got to hit that again, if not more. And then I set my goal for my beard at 2,500.
Right.
We ended up getting to just under 1,800.
Okay.
People paid that much just to see me cut my hair. It was pretty
I think
funny.
you should do it again. I don't think getting $2,500 would be a problem this time.
But we even left it open an extra week and everything, but it never got to it. But that was also the summer that everybody's energy bills spiked real bad.
Yeah.
So like at the beginning of the summer when we started fundraising, people were all about it. But by the end of the summer, man, people were really tight on money.
Yeah.
For good reason. I mean, not that McMillan's not a good charity, but you know, when your energy bill went up 3 times in 2 months, people had to pinch some pennies. So we didn't quite get where we wanted, but it was still a good cause. And I believe in anybody that goes out there and does any of these things to raise money for any of these charities, especially cancer charities, man. Because there's not a person. I personally don't know any one singular person that hasn't been affected in one way or another by someone having cancer or them having cancer or something like that. So it's always a good shout to do that kind of stuff. Speaking of charities, I know my club tomorrow night, we're going to take up a donation for Manchester. Graham, I know that's pretty much your home club. Shout out to those guys, man. That's a bad deal, but the work and hey man, losing your cornhole stuff is a pretty bad deal. But as we all know, Daniel's brother also runs a charity organization called Cold Hands Warm Hearts, and they lost all their stuff as well.
All right.
So that was just a bad deal overall. I know here in the cornhole community, we've talked a lot about Manchester Club losing their cornhole stuff, but let us not forget that a great charity that does great work in the Manchester area lost a lot of stuff as well. So, guys, if y'all are out there and you got some stuff you want to donate, hit up Daniel and Jamie Lilly and see what y'all can do, man. I've got a bunch of stuff I'm going to try to send that we were going to take to a car boot sale. So instead, I'm just going to donate it all back to Jamie's organization.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, enough. Let's get on to what we got Ben on here for. He don't want to be on here all night.
Fire away. What do you want to ask?
All right, man. So we got a few questions that came through, and then we got some other stuff that I know people were talking about that just maybe didn't ask, and things that we're just curious about. So we'll go through. Graham's got the questions that our listeners have sent in, so we'll go through a few of those first.
Yeah, so just let me find them. So,
and I suppose just for always looking for those, obviously, this year is going to be another learning experience for us all. We've changed it, hopefully for the better. We might get some things slightly wrong again, and we might change it for the better, hopefully, with feedback next season. So, again, it's a bit of a journey we're all going on. Glad for the support. Hopefully, most of the changes well received. It might not suit everybody, some things, but we'll keep listening and keep evolving. Really, is kind of the message. So this isn't the finished article; it's kind of a work in progress. And I think some of the things that are going to come up have kind of caused disagreement, not disagreement, but we've talked around them a lot. And some of the things we've already heard you say, I kind of smile because they were the conversations we were having like before we released it. So yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah. So a couple of people actually put this question forward. So it's like I'll sort of summarise between the questions. So like with the growing number of junior players that are coming through to events, what would the thoughts be on doing like a separate juniors tournament on the side on the day?
We talked about that back in the last season, and even at the finals weekend, could we just eke out because they're all up and coming players, probably will struggle to compete at the seniors levels, but yeah, absolutely. If I know not all of, obviously Austin's usually there, so in terms of the rankings for juniors, he usually wins out because he's at all the events and all the others don't. So we'd probably rather target events that we know they can get to. So if any of the parents want to reach out once the dates are all fixed and firmed and said maybe we can put on kind of 3 weekends when we know the bulk of them are going to be there and have a league that they're all at, because if we just do it like the seniors, Austin's going to score more points, and obviously he doesn't always win those games. We'll go and have a think. But yeah, we're super happy to do that, and we would have done that anyway. I think if they'd all been there, even if it's kind of on the finals weekend, we have a juniors where just juniors play juniors, and hopefully by that time there's more. I know there's another lad at Ashby that's probably. We haven't really agreed what a junior is. Is it under 18? Is it under 16? I think we've got a 15-year-old that plays quite regularly at Ashby as well.
I think based on like the ACL, I think it's
16.
16's the cut-off, I think.
Yeah, we do want to encourage more, and I do understand it's probably hard for those guys to come and play. I mean, it's like me playing against all the best players every week. I don't want to lose every time, which is... So yeah, we're super happy to do something like that, and I'd encourage the parents to reach out and say we're going to target these events and we'll try and make it work.
Yeah,
cool.
And just similar to that, like with the growing number of women, like potentially similar for the women as well.
Yeah, it just gets more complicated because if you say we're just doing a women's event, does that mean we do it alongside a singles event or is it separate? And what do they feel about that? Because I mean, let's be honest, Vicky knocked me and my dad out on the finals day. So if I said, "Oh well, let's get rid of her and put her in a ladies' event," does she see that as a positive? Because she's
Ian probably would, so he doesn't have to keep on getting beat by you.
Well, I think just like you would with the juniors, and just like if we did the ladies, I think I think it kind of has to be one of those on the day type deals, depending on how many women are registered, how many women are going to be there, how many juniors are registered, how many juniors are going to be there. But I think you could easily run, because there's so few, you could still run a little bit of a side tournament, because you can always put that tournament on hold and on pause if one of those ladies had to play in the open singles.
Yeah, I agree. I think we've also got a weekend. I know this question is going to come up, so I heard you talk about it the podcast a couple of weeks ago. Doubles. So we're trying to get target weekend where we have a 2-day event, and doubles won't take as long as a singles event. So that day gives us the opportunity maybe to put on that day doubles, singles, females, juniors. And there's another silly format I want to play that's kind of maybe do like a charity tournament where everyone pays a couple of quid. That goes into a charity pot, and we pick one of these fantastic things to support. We play it sometimes at club night. We call it Jeopardy rounds. So you play like 3 or 5 round limited double elim. So you don't have any time to get into it. We've done it a few times, and it always is a massive laugh where you do like literally 3 ends and it's game over.
Sure.
But it's something like that. Just we will, if we have a double day, I think that's likely to be at Ashby, and hopefully the April date we have in the calendar. I'm trying to target that as a 2-day thing, where we can have some of these other events on the second day.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, and I'll say that if we did try to do even on this open singles, when it's just singles, I think people would be willing to help as well and try to keep things moving if we did do that. Because you think if there's 6 juniors, that's a quick one to do just on the side.
Yeah.
Because you'll really
later on in the tournament, when you're waiting for the king seats, sitting there waiting for the losers, there's always loads of courts. And, you could quite early take a couple of courts out, and like, I'm not being cruel, but the most of the juniors will probably be out by that point.
Yeah.
So you could definitely eke out some time there.
For sure. And I think it helps keep people around a bit, and it kind of helps, but it gives the juniors something to play for other than paying to come and lose.
And if we can make a note of this recording and then 2 years play it back when all of those kids are kicking my ass every week, that'd be great.
Hey man, every day I take my son, every Tuesday when I take my son, I hope one day it just clicks in his head and he starts kicking the shit out of all of us.
My lad's thrown a few times now, having not wanted to touch
fair.
it.
It's not fair when your lad throws, man.
It just drops it in.
He just drops it in the hole.
Yeah, he was all right, actually. He said he's never really played it. He was pretty good, but we'll see.
Does it kind of remind you of Shaq shooting free throws, though?
Yeah. It's stupid.
It's just like right there. All right, what's next?
Right, so another one of the questions for like the tiering, like, because obviously we're on about splitting into tiers. So
yeah,
will it be just everybody open rounders every tournament and then split?
Yes, because we want to make we want to make the rounders mean something. And suddenly, if you're going into the rounders going, I'll warm up later on, I'll beat everyone later in the day, and suddenly you lose 3 of your games, you're like, well, I'm potentially or probably in tier 2. So the way of doing that will mean the morning is more improvement, and they don't want people to risk being stuck in a tier that they're not meant to be in. So yes, everyone who turns up will go into a big pot. The rounders bit in the morning isn't limited by numbers, so it doesn't matter how many you have. It's obviously brackets are limited to numbers. So once we've done that, we'll then follow the tiering of, hopefully we get 50, 60 people. If we get 33, 34, we'll just do it in one tier.
I love that idea. And as soon as we read it, man, we were both like, yeah, I love the idea. The only suggestion I would make is I would say the top 24, and then because we're averaging 48 to 50 right now.
Yeah.
We're kind of splitting it in half rather than going 32 in the top tier and 18 in that bottom tier, kind of splitting it in the middle.
Yeah.
Because you can still put 24 people in a 32-man bracket and just let the top 8 have a bye.
Yeah.
That first round. I don't know. Just a suggestion. I do love the fact that y'all are splitting into tiers because I think it gives everybody a chance.
Yeah, I'd rather play against people I can compete with. I had some great games at the Tier 2 finals. I really enjoyed it. And because I'm not just getting on a court and thinking, can I cling on and, get incredibly lucky here. It was kind of every game was competitive I had. So hoping that sort of takes it into this format, sort of suits that. And I think most people are quite realistic about where they sit. So
I know, like for me, I mean, my first goal when I get to an ACL Europe event is at a minimum, I want to be like probably 2-2 in rounders. At a very minimum, prefer to be about 3-1. But it's always to make tier 1.
Yes.
Tier 1 gets you points, Tier 2 doesn't. So even having two-tier system here in the UK, man, it's going to give people that, hey, my goal is to make Tier 1.
Yeah.
So it still gives you a mindset of trying to set a goal and it being realistic. And I like that.
Yeah, and obviously there's a hope that we continue to grow and numbers get to where we're regularly getting 60 plus. There's, you look at the people who weren't there maybe at the final, and there's a few regulars that weren't there. But yeah, with more events, the expectation is the numbers might drop off because we've kind of set it in a way that you don't need to go to every event. So if you imagine, every event has 40 people, maybe that does lend itself to the kind of 24 split. Otherwise, we might end up where we're always going. We've got 40. Should we just do it in one? So I'll have a chat with the boys and we'll take that under advisement. And
Yeah.
The danger is we say something and then we change it on the day. I think people like knowing what they're going into. And if we do, if we say 24 and then suddenly we've got a tournament with 60 people and we say, actually, no, today we're going to do 32, some people might then go, well, you said. So it's just, we might not get it right, but we'd rather kind of say, this is what we're doing and we'll stick with it. And kind of that's kind of this concern. We've now dropped it to 24. If we do have 65 people at an event and we've said 24 and like halfway through during the event, we go, we're going to do 32. You understand what I'm saying? There'll be people going.
I think with you being open and transparent about it, I don't think people are going to get their panties in a wad. I think you're going to go into it going, hey, depending on numbers, it could be 24 to 32 in Tier 1. It just depends on how many people register and how many people show up. Because when that happens, because it happens at ACL events. Like, you go to the event and they're like, there could possibly be 3 tiers depending on how many people we have. And then, there wasn't as many as we thought, so there's only going to be 2 tiers. Or, hey, there wasn't as many double teams as we thought, so there's only going to be 1 tier, period.
Yeah.
So I think that part of it, people can't really get mad at you for that because numbers are what they are. Numbers are numbers. They don't lie. They can't be changed. It is what it is. So you're not going to stick to a verbatim, we're doing this, if you don't have the numbers for that.
Sure, yeah.
Right? Because if you only had 32 people show up, you're not going to go, all right, 8 of you in Tier 2, 24 of you. Nope, you're just going to go, all 32 are in Tier 1, period, end up.
Unless I'm like in that bottom 8, like ultimate sandbagging, like winner of Tier 2.
Yeah, but that's one good thing about the way y'all set up the points, too. Winner of Tier 2 still gets less than number 64 in Tier 1, man. And I like that.
No, that was on purpose. That obviously we're aware of that. You shouldn't be rewarded for sandbagging.
Now, speaking of points, though, that is one thing I would change personally, just slightly. I would award the top 3 a few more points than what you have it written down as, just because I think when you're talking top 3, that's who's podiuming them, and you're only offset from, and I'm not saying a ton of points, but maybe first gets, 65 instead of 55, just to.
Weren't you the one moaning last year that there was too much separation? So we've kind of gone full circle.
I'm talking about 5 to 10 points here, not 500 points.
Ali came up with the points initially, and he didn't have any extra points. It was like 1 point difference for 1, 2, 3, 4. I was like, mate, imagine going to a poker tournament and getting $1 more than the guy who came second. Like, well, we've kind of gone with a number because we want to encourage people to come, and we want to encourage people who have come to 6 events to maybe go, let's just go for a 7th and see if I can just nick a couple more points. So I suppose I get what you're saying. I don't think we're going to change that because that's gone out now. We'll see how it plays back. So we kind of did some numbers and like how unlucky does somebody need to be to, maybe win 3 and come 3rd in 3, and then someone have come 2nd in. There's not many combinations, and really those last 16 at the end of the season are playing for, for being there, and then maybe some slight differences in ranking. So we're not going to. I don't think we're going to change that, but we'll see how it plays out. And if at the end of the season we look at it and go, there's a lot of just everyone on the same.
But again, I like this point system 100 times more than the last point system.
Yeah.
The last point system was fucking crazy, and I don't understand. And again, it is what it is, but I just didn't understand how we even got to that because, I mean, literally, there were more points separating me at 5th and first place than there was me in 5th and like 25th place.
Yeah.
That was crazy. So I do think that you guys have come up with a more accurate scoring system for sure. So I like that.
We just look at other. I mean, look, we're not gonna. You guys probably know more about this sport than we do by far. We've been and looked what other leagues are doing. We've been and looked what other sports are doing. We've come off our experience, and like I say, we are making it up with feedback as we go along,
For sure.
and some research and stuff. So we'll see how it plays out. And I said it might well evolve again next season. We might go, let's just give a bit more reward for actually finishing first because it feels like a lot bigger than finishing third. Yeah.
But it is, and you guys are doing a great job, man. I don't want everyone to think y'all aren't, because you are. Because every league goes through its trials and tribulations when it starts, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All right, next question, Graham-O.
Well, the only other one that we had sent in was around the dates. So they were asking, do we have a list of dates even approximate for the whole year? Now, the word dates, I think that question might have actually been sent before we actually released the episode saying everything. So, because you did have some dates, some were confirmed and some as yet were unconfirmed. So, we'll change the question slightly. Are any of them unconfirmed ones now confirmed, or are they subject to change, or what?
I'm just going to look at my list. So we know we've got the announcement around the 108 Club in London in August.
I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, we are as well. Super
That's
cool
also going to be my son. That's going to be my son's first competition.
Yeah.
Unless he goes to the ACL event, I'm trying to get him to go play juniors and that. But yeah, we're excited about that one. Yeah.
So that's good. Cool venue, cool space, not bad to get to as well. You think London, everyone sort of goes, oh, but there's parking there. It's the bottom of the M1. It's easy to get off of a train there.
Yeah, I already looked. It's actually drivable because I was thinking, do a drive, get trains or whatever. Thinking, what time am I going to have to leave? And it's like, actually, I can get away with like leaving at like 7. It doesn't actually look that bad.
And we're starting that one a bit later, aren't we, as well? That doesn't start as early, that one. For that reason, for a bit of travel, so that one is a bit of a later kick-off as well, and because we think there's a cool bar on site. There's like a proper smokehouse, burger bar and stuff. So we'll kind of try and make a bit of one that finishes a bit later by plan and have a few beers. So that's that one. October the 11th. I've been offered a couple of venues, but we're trying desperately to have that one in the north. I know people have sent me hundreds. It's kind of having somewhere that you have confidence, because turning up for the first time at a venue, having never been there, and it's the stuff that really makes a good difference to how easy or well we run a tournament is like Wi-Fi. Is if we went to Statfold, they have crazy good Wi-Fi there, and there's so few problems with tablets and things, and that's just usually around the quality of the Wi-Fi.
That's just tough, man. Because you realize that's when all of us are getting back. Like, it's a week and a half after we all get back from European Championships.
Yeah. Yeah, and you guys have got further to go. That's likely to be the north one. And again, John's bringing 50 people to that one if I can get it far enough north. So I'm trying to get as northern as I can without making them pleasant for everyone else.
Barring something crazy happening, I'll be there regardless.
Yeah, there's 2 people you can always count on to attend an event, and that's Josh and Tony Gabbin.
Yes, yeah.
Only Tony's missed one.
I've got a venue that's like Preston, and I've got one in Huddersfield. They're the kind of 2 places not confirmed. Just big shout out to Chris Coates. He's been trying so hard. I know he desperately wants to get everyone to kind of his neck of the woods. He's found some really, really cool venue, but one of them told me the minimum bar spend was $6,000. I was like, I think that's before the high cost. I was like, these guys drink a lot.
Crazy. And again, we talk about this all the time in this country, man. It's so weird because we go to these ACL Europe events and everybody's like, oh, you guys only have 4 or 5 events a year. And I'm like, yes, because we can't afford venues anywhere.
Yeah.
You can't have 50 players, and like you said, can't have 50 players and pay $2,000 a day for a venue.
Yeah.
It's just not feasible.
I think going forward, we're likely to pick a few of these target events for decent places with a bit bigger space, and the rest are going to be, because this new format kind of encourages more events with fewer people, and we can further extend that. We could do 12 events next year, and you still only need to go to 6. So I suppose you do have a little drop off in numbers, but then we can get them. If we can get 10 lanes in a court that holds 4 badminton courts, that puts in a lot of like school halls and things. So I've been going around to quite a lot of schools and saying, can we hire it? And again, it's we can get cheaper elsewhere, but they're the sort of right sizes. But I do like interesting venues. Statfold, bit different. The 108 that we've got, bit different. It's just trying to find enough of those.
I'd go back to Tamworth anytime, man. That's a good venue.
And we're trying to have those conversations. It was a good venue, but it is beyond our budget. We knew that when we booked it. We wanted to try it, and we wanted to say to them, like, you guys are an events company. You have these big events. Have an America Day, and we'll be the showcase. You get like burger vans, brisket, trucks. Get some country and western vans.
Spud, man.
Yeah, stuff like that. Well, he's not very American, is he? As much as he's a legend.
Yeah.
But yeah, we wanted them to do that, so we sort of said we'll do this. I think we are probably back there, leveraging some support with the ACO in May, because it kind of reduces the cost. But that will just be a UKCL standalone event within the kind of space. Sorry, we got out of order. So October at Lightly North, November is Ashby. That's Ben's birthday weekend. So we may well. So we might as well try and see if we can get a few hours on Friday night and see if we can wobble a few of them.
Birthday weekend?
No, mine.
Oh, yours. Mine. Oh yeah, it was. Because we went out last year for your birthday.
Yeah, everyone was rotting on the Saturday, weren't they?
Yes, because Ben Shaw just kept making me pound freaking Guinnesses.
Yeah, I told him to.
He actually bought 2 or 3 of them and just handed them to me as he was walking out the door because he knew I wouldn't leave them behind.
He was trying to make you quiet, I think was his plan. He's like, I can concentrate more if Josh has got hangover tomorrow.
It didn't work.
Yeah, no, never does. We then got going into 2026, January the 3rd, which is Nick reckons everyone will be fed up with the families and ready to throw some bags. I'm still going to be hungover on the 3rd. But so we've got one on January the 3rd. A good way to kick in your New Year's resolutions, and everyone will be there with their bottles of water. And
there goes my. I'm not going to drink in the New Year.
So there's that one. 7th of February. We probably need to have a bit of a chat with you guys in Bury, because that was one that was potentially targeted for Bury. I think you've got some good venues that are better in warmer months. We weren't a massive fan of the school. One, we had to shorten the format. We nearly didn't finish anyway. We had to park miles away. If we could find a slightly better, more flexible venue we like coming there. You, I think, still hold the record for the highest turnout in terms of numbers, because we travel. Tony travels, and you've got a big core that if it's in Bury, they're very likely to play. So it gives us a good number of people for that one. But that's still a TBC. The dates are fixed, may I add. It's just where we're playing. March the 7th, that's Portsmouth, that's booked. April the 18th, that's booked, that's Ashby. And I'm hoping that to be a 2-day event and have doubles on the Sunday, plus juniors, a few other crazy formats. May, I believe that's still TBC, but that might well be the Sunday for the UKCL event this weekend. So I think the plan is that they're having the hall for the Saturday for ACO, similarly to last year's events. People will hopefully support that if they wish to. If not, we have a standalone UKCL event on the Sunday.
Yeah, I'll be if I'm not in Europe, I'll be at both.
June the 6th, date is confirmed, but venue not yet, so I don't know where that one will be. And then the national 4th of July, the national finals. I think we've confirmed Colville again, so the bigger hall that has double the amount of courts. And we had members of the public. We had nice space there, so that's what the plan is for the finals. I know you mentioned on your podcast about it being an American holiday, and I kind of went back and said to Ali, "Oh, do we need to look at that?" But I think the trouble is, me, Nick, and Ali are all away as we go a bit later. We're all on holiday, so that date almost. Whilst we didn't plan to have it on that one specifically, it's more to do with the three of us being away. So that's the calendar. Again, cool venues. If anyone can leverage any support and has an interesting venue, just somewhere a bit different rather than a school hall to play cornhole. If you've been there, if you know the Wi-Fi is good, if you know they're a bit more flexible on times, the amount of halls that have 4 badminton courts that they charge out at £10 an hour, but then when you want the whole hall for the whole day, double the cost. I'm like, why? Why can't I just book all your badminton courts all day and pay £10 an hour per court, £40 an hour, under £500?
Because people are opportunists.
I know. I was like, surely it's easier if you did not have to have anybody there other than a guy to unlock and a guy to lock. We're quite self-sufficient.
Yep.
But yeah.
And a lot of fun.
Yeah. So
we're all a barrel of fucking laughs.
And it's nice to have venues where there might be some members of the public to kind of go, what's that game? Oh, I should look that up and learn about it or just talk about it. If we're in a locked school hall in the middle of a locked, compound, there's no way you're getting, it's not quite the same. So please, guys, if you really, really want to sort of have one somewhere near you, go check out the venue, have the initial chat, see if you can leverage some support or, roughly know because if you just send me an email with like the place on, it means I've got to contact so many people and then ask them all these questions, and not all of them are great. But like you say, I know there's a few, and we're trying. It's how far north do you go to consider north? Because once you get to Scotland, you're about halfway up the United Kingdom. But most of the players that come to these tournaments are based kind of Midlands and down, with the exception of some smaller clubs in the north.
So, prize money.
Yeah.
Is that going to be? Are you going to spread that out over both tiers at nationals?
No, I don't think tier 2. Once we pay out money, we're trying to appease, community cornhole and the elite. So that money to me is for the elite. They're for the guys who want to compete. I probably in my head, if you ask me now on the spot, I'd probably say first, second, and third would split that kind of 50, 30, 20%. Maybe there's an argument for getting fourth place, but I like the idea of first, second, third.
I can dig it.
And again, if we can get some sponsors for specific events, I'd like to, but I don't like somebody then going, well, I won the last one, there's no prize money, and then you've got a few £100 for this prize money. I'd rather probably make it about the final, and if we get some sponsorship and we can top that up, maybe we just either pay more places or pay out a little bit more. And then obviously we've done the pro shirts for the top 10, and we've given some guys who finished top 10 last year some shirts as well, just because they missed out.
That's my thing. So what was the reasoning behind making your pro good for 2 seasons?
No idea.
And not just bringing it, but not just doing it season to season.
I imagine we inherited it. I imagine that's what it was. I know Dan wanted to do 2-year rankings, whereas we're just like, no, just reset every year. Again, we have to reset this year because we're doing it. But I think we favour 1 year. I think we've gone back 2 years this time just because there's some people who we didn't reward last year and we didn't give a free shirt to. So we just wanted to give them a nod. We offered Matt Richardson a shirt, but he's not allowed contractually to wear one. So we were quite happy. We've offered a few people them.
Sure.
And
I think okay, so us top 10 guys that made pro this year, cool for next year, but I don't think we should automatically be qualified for the second year. Because what if I'm not in the top 10 next year?
Yeah. No, I
can see that. Pro because someone else outworked me all season to get in the top 10. So
I guess you've got every opportunity this year to go to events, because I know there's a few comments that some people that were good missed a couple of events and then struggle But we've kind of given people the opportunity to not have work or holidays as kind of the sole reason why they're not in that top 10. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm more than happy to just do a 1 year thing. I can speak to the guys.
I just think, me personally, I just think it makes it a tighter battle, a tighter race.
Yeah.
Like you're working every season to remain in that top 10.
And it means something then, you know, you're not one of 17 pros, you're kind of one of 10.
Yeah. And now, obviously, as the league grows, you can then expand and say, okay, we'll do 15 this year.
Yeah.
Now we have 70 players that are regulars that play every time, stuff like that. But I think just saying, okay, U10, and I'll use this for an example. And I know I use myself as example, so I don't like to talk for other people. But I am going to talk for my doubles partner, Liam, because I'll use us two as examples. Like, once the ACL schedule comes out, there may be a handful of events here in the UK we miss because of events we need to hit for the ACL schedule.
Yes.
Now, the odds of him not making top 10 regardless is slimmer than, obviously, myself. But I would hate for the fact that, like, let's say we can only make it to 5 events, right? And let's say he's in the top 10, cool, whatever, but I finished 11th. And all these people have worked very hard to then get in the top 10. And now there's 11 pros next year because I still get to be a pro. Or there's 12 or 13 because a couple guys are jumping in. So I just think it's kind of one of those weird ones that I think, just like your point system, your pro status, you should have to earn it every year.
Yeah, okay. No, that's good. I'll take it back again. It's one that's kind of more to appease the pros. So if any other pros of this season feel any differently, maybe reach out. But I'm more than happy to go back and agree that with the guys that it's a 1 year thing. It is. I mean, getting shirts is something we intend to do every year, so it doesn't really make too much odds in terms of like costs or anything for us. And if the pros would rather earn it every year to be recognised and only have 10 a year, then that's absolutely fine with us. You've always got to burn your old pro shirts, so you can't be walking around in like I was pro in 1919 or something.
What? I can't just hang it on the wall?
Well, you can do that. Yeah, you can do that.
What was the reason behind dropping membership fee?
Well, one, we put the cost up, so that kind of negated a bit of the increase. And there's a few people that midway through the season are probably put off by, if that first event was going to cost you 50 quid, it's kind of suddenly a bit more of an outlay. And if there's only 2 games left of the season, we didn't want it to stop people getting involved halfway through a season. So I feel that way. You know, we don't mind if people come to 1 or 2 events. We've done the thing with the not winning a qualifier, which we do feel quite sorry for Mr. Blank, but we think it's fairer for a UK league to be represented the final with people who have earned the spot there rather than just done that. So I think everyone else is happy about that. Richard might not be, but
I said it on the podcast last week. Hey, good on you, because the DCO, like EJ and all them dudes can play in the DCO all season long. But when it comes to the championships, no Americans. It's all Germans, period, end of.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I don't want it to go that far, but then I think I could be the exception because I am here on a visa, not just here with the military. But yeah, the Germans, and they're like, nah, you're good.
Yeah.
You can play in the DCO all year, but you're not playing in the national championships.
And they're still welcome to come over for the excellent tournaments we put on and have a good laugh and just play a couple. We'd always love that. But yeah, the money was just purely a bit of a balance with putting the entry fees up. We just thought we'd get rid of that because we do feel bad. There's somebody who came to the very last event. He came to the finals and he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I haven't paid the membership yet." I was like, honestly, don't worry about it because we kind of know we're getting rid of it, and it feels bad to ask you to pay an annual membership on the very last event of the year. Sure. So that's the reason for that.
Now I know, again, ACL, you can have a free membership. You just have to pay full price to get into tournaments. Or if you have like a better tournament or a better membership, you get discounts for entry fees. Have y'all thought about doing something like that?
I mean, that just sounds like a load of admin for me. Because I'm the one that, well, it is our least favourite job. Well, about a week for the event, we go, right, let's go see who's registered on Scoreholio, who's paid, because obviously there are two different systems, and match the two. There's always some people that have registered on Scoreholio not paid. There's sometimes people that are paid that are not registered. And then we have to chase money, and we know there's some people who prefer dealing in cash. And then on the morning when we've got all the other stresses setting up, we then have to go and say, "Can you please play me?" So
I know that asshole Josh does that every
you were okay this year. We don't mind. It's just like, I suppose the finals. The other two were both in it. So, and I was wanting to actually try and throw some bags before playing. So no, to be honest, there was no issue this time. Everyone paid well before we started, but it's just one less thing. If the community would please just pay online, and you actually get more money if you give me £20 cash than if you pay online, because we have to pay a fee on it. But it's just one thing that we'd rather not have to deal with on the morning when we've got like an hour or two and we're running around trying to get tablets connected and check batteries and get the live stream up. It's one job that's dead easy to do before the event.
All you listeners out there, he misspoke. It's £30 this year, not 20.
I was talking about
I don't
last
want people trying to dime you out and going, "You said 20 on the podcast."
I think for a while I wasn't putting anything on Scoreholio because I was like, oh, if I put like 20 quid entries, does that mean Scoreholio tries to take money? But I think all the events on Scoreholio, we're going to try and get more live earlier this time because we know more of the venues and the timings. And the 108 in London in August is live now, so people can go at least register for that. You don't have to pay for it this early, but if people could give us an idea of numbers by going and registering and paying the week before, that is fine by us.
Cool.
It'd be good to get an idea. We've obviously put that one in quite early, and I'll just explain that one. We're quite excited about the venue, but they are indoor baseball and softball site. So in the summer months, most people, rather than paying the quite high fee to go there, will just go play outside. So they're very busy in the winter months on Saturdays, but in the summer they're less busy. So it's a good place for us to have events, but they'd likely be in the summer. And the guy there is also interested in kind of getting maybe a team going, or regular place to play on Wednesday night, one of his quieter nights. So we have looped him in with Liam. Liam's keen to go over and meet him. So I'm hoping that after this showcase event, a few people might sign up there, and we can have another kind of a London-based club. So that hopefully is going to be a venue for regular cornhole in the UK as well for anyone.
That would be awesome. Well, you guys are doing a great job, man. I like the new changes. I really do. I know when you sent them to me, I know you were thinking, "Oh Christ, what's Josh coming out with this time?" But no, I know you listen to the podcast, so I know we talked it up big time. And when we first started reviewing it, me and Graham talked about it extensively before we ever got on the show. And I'm down with all of them, man. There's not one. Literally, outside of the 2-year pro thing, there wasn't one thing I couldn't get behind or understand.
Good.
That was the only one. That was my only question. And again, it's semantics. It's not even that big of a deal. I love the fact that you put it up to £30 an event. I really do, because I think people that haven't had to go out and try to secure a venue don't understand the ball ache of getting a venue. Yeah. And I think if people want more venues or more tournaments, better venues, we got to pay more, because it's just not possible to keep paying a minuscule amount and expect some big sports hall. It's not. It's just not feasible, because, as you said, you try to rent out 4 badminton courts that would normally cost you £40 an hour. Yep. All of a sudden it's £80 an hour because you're the only one doing it. Yeah. I mean, use for our club, because where we secured, come to find out, it wasn't as good a deal as they told us it was going to be. So they're essentially, terminating our contract with them. Yeah. So we've got it. We've secured another venue. It's fine. It's bigger. It's a little out of the way, but we're going to Colford, so where we host the ACL event.
Is that the school? Is that the
Yeah,
school?
so we get the outdoor tennis courts, and the cost will be fine for us. We get to store our stuff there, and it's huge. It's a huge area, but it's not ideal in the summer. It's going to be humid in there, and in the winter it's going to be cold as shit. But
Yep.
right now we don't have a better option. So yeah, I mean, people have to understand that it costs money to get a venue. Venues are not cheap in this country. The English would not all the English, but most of them would rather not make any money than give anybody a discount because they feel like they're doing something that's going to cost them money.
And obviously the school hall venues, we can put on a fairly basic food and drink, and yes, we make a little bit of money on that. But honestly, I'd rather somebody else just take care of it. We'd quite happily have a really cool bar, and like the 108 has got cool food and drink, and all American brands, so shit beer actually. But we'd rather have a good offering for the people that come, rather than try and make 100 quid off selling some cans of pop and cans of beer. But yeah, we'll grow into it. As it grows, we'll be able to get these better venues, and we will just find some gems that just work. Maybe we can do a deal with Statfold over a big kind of a day that we're the centerpiece of. Maybe we can go back to the 108 in the summer next year and do a similar thing. And once we've got 2 or 3 of these sort of exciting ones, people don't mind coming to Ashby. We know what we get at Ashby. It's very easy for us to run. The new boards should be here for the August one. I think the actual blanks have arrived this week, and then it's just getting them printed up. So we'll see how they play, but they'll all be the same. Sorry?
Who's printing them?
We Love Cornhole.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, we Love Cornhole is our supplier. We obviously have a deal with Wicked Woods, as you know, and we are like the UK arm of that. So they are the ones that do all that. Now a lot of the bags they sell are fairly limited, and they're ACL stamped. I know Great Cornhole is starting to do some cool stuff. We're not too precious.
Let me ask you a question about this whole We Love Cornhole thing. So you ordered the boards from the States.
I believe the blanks, because we have the top end ones, they do come in as that's. I think he orders them en masse. I've never really worried too much about it until.
Oh, and then he prints them. Okay.
Yeah. And obviously I think I've ordered 12 sets of all the same with our Hickory's Smokehouse sponsor on. So they'll all be the same, and they'll all play well. They'll all play the same, which I think is the message from everyone. They're not bothered if they're fast or slow, but going from completely different boards that are made slightly different is a problem. So we'll get that consistency right. And yeah, that's the. I mean, those I've seen some of John Stein's charge boards. They do look amazing. They look amazing, but I imagine he's very carefully made them to a very high standard, and that inevitably comes with a price tag, rather than a machine, massive CNC. Can't tell you where.
Yep.
CNC machine. Yeah. So we've done this time. These will last us at least a couple of seasons. We're going to keep these away from our club boards. So the only time the move you and I have talked about sort of keeping them in the boxes they come in just to protect them. We've got a little bit of a storage unit that we've got now that we're going to put some carpet down or something. So they literally get moved by Nick and the team that puts the venues together and then put away. So they won't get bashed and scraped.
Nice.
When we get the ones that we have in Ashby, we have to go there on a Thursday night, lump them out, put them in vans, cars, move them to the venue, unload them into a corner. Then we have to set them up and then reverse that every time. And obviously our boards get a heavy use because they're in a great location for club night, but not a great location for taking them elsewhere. But we use them every week, and when you're just lifting them away and putting them against each other, they get knocked and dinked. So. Bless Tony, he takes sets quite regularly and reseals them, but it just means all your boards are slightly different quality.
Yep.
I know we have offered Danny a set of boards to support the Manchester lot, and I know Baggers have made a donation. Baggers have made a donation to the cause as well.
Yeah, we're taking up a collection tomorrow night. We'll probably. I don't know if they'll need bags or anything because obviously Great can make bags and charge them I'm sure make some bags for them. But yeah, we're taking up donations and stuff as well.
We do need more bag manufacturers, but I think the way you tell me about the American market, it doesn't seem to be that there's big companies making bags. It seems to be smaller kind of cottage industry businesses that will sponsor a player, get a bag that everyone wants, and then on our website, We Love Cornhole, we did have a bit of a grumble. There's bags on there that you wouldn't ever throw because they're like £1 off Amazon, or there's 165 quid BG Wizards, and I want a 60 to 80 quid bag.
Well, so funny enough, the Big Ass Cornhole show last week was talking about the same thing. Whereas like back in the day, every set of bags, and I remember the first time I talked to Matt Richardson about bags, and all I thought is how much difference can there be a $50 set of bags and a $150 set of bags? And he's like, there's a huge difference. And then you start playing with them, and you're like, oh my God, there really is a huge difference. Now, the thing is, though, you have your few really big bag manufacturers, Ultra, AAR, All Cornhole, BGs, Lucky Bags. Those guys, man, they've got all them top players. And they're selling bags for anywhere from, I don't know, 80, 120 maybe. Cornhole Scenario used to be like the holy grail of bags.
Yep.
Because of the way they were made. And it's just a little lady and her husband, not really on the mass thing. So they would put a set of bags out, and once it like sold out, it sold out. You couldn't get them. You'd get them aftermarket. They might have sold for $150 on our website, and people are selling them for $200, $300, $400, and people are buying them.
Yeah.
I have a set that cost me $185. And wow, I mean, they're great bags, don't get me wrong, but I had no business buying them. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen some of these bags where they creep into the hole. Like there's a corner hanging over, you think that's not moving, and then like one bead at a time, you see them trickling in. It's like a snake going over the stairs.
Yeah. So I think when you talk bags, and you're not, I just don't see us being ready. In the UK, we're not ready to have a bag manufacturer. I mean, to be honest, we're really not.
Yeah, you've got 100 players, say playing regularly, and at most they might buy 2 sets of bags a year if you're really keen on. I've bought 2 sets of bags.
The big thing is though is because you don't have any type like, and this is no slight on you guys. There's no regulation for what we're throwing in the UKCL.
No.
You can throw an ACO bag. John and them were throwing charge bags before they ever got stamped. A lot of us are throwing ACL bags. Now, my argument was always it should have been mentioned from the get-go and regulated. You're either throwing an ACO stamp bag or an ACL stamp bag, because at least then there are templates, there are regulations on these bags. These bags have been weighed, measured, all that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying people are going to try to cheat, but if you don't have a set standard, human error can happen.
Yeah.
Maybe you have a bag that's only 15 ounces instead of 16 ounces. And it makes it
easier? Do you think that makes it easier though?
Yeah, it has less fill. It's 100% going to be more hole friendly.
Okay.
100%. That's why now you can have an L series bag, which is a little lighter. And I can tell you, I can bring my Wicked L's and I can have Liam bring his Wickeds, and you're going to hold both of them and you're going to go, yep, I understand why that's an L and why that's the normal.
Yeah.
It's a huge difference. So I think moving forward, you set that standard and you say, hey, we're going to let you throw these bags, but they got to be ACO stamped or they got to be ACL stamped. You ain't got to get down to the nitty gritty about it. Let either one go.
I think
right now, the issue being is the 2 people that are making bags in this country, charging great. Yeah.
Whoa, Tony Gavin makes bags.
Stamped. Let me rephrase. Stamped bags or ACO stamped bags.
Yes, now, and that's the thing. At some point, at some point we might have a stamp, but we don't want to discourage anyone from trying to have to make them. And yeah, I think if they had an ACL or an ACL stamp, we're pretty happy. And to be honest, with the level of cornhole in this country, like I say, it's not ready for a bag manufacturer, and I don't think anyone's going to try and cheat it by making a lighter bag at this point.
There's nothing against Tony. I support what he's doing, but
his bags are good for beginners. They are good. They're great.
I personally am not going to purchase a set of his bags because I can't throw them anywhere outside of here.
No. And when I play against Tony Club Nights, he doesn't play with his bags. He plays with has he got some TG bags with I think he's got some branded ones. I don't know. But I know my dad plays with them.
I know a few people that play with his bags, and they're not bad bags. That's not what I'm saying, but they are your I'm a beginner, I'm learning bags, and they're great for that. Mm. But when it starts coming to competitions, unless he can get a stamp, they're not going to be, people aren't going to use them because there's no, you got to, at some point, you got to have some kind of set standard.
At some point we'll get to the point where it has to be, a stamp bag, and then at some point we'll have a UKCL stamp. But we'd just be pissing people off if we do that now, because people say, I'm not going to buy a really limited set. We'd all be playing with the same bags, wouldn't we?
And I think
the market isn't big enough.
I think your best bet as the league commissioners, I think your best bet is just keeping it at a standard of saying, hey, you've either got to have a ACO stamp or an ACL stamp. Because those are two leading industries that have checked and measured these bags. There is that template.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I really don't have much use for an ACO stamp bag because we have one ACO event a year. However, guess what? To support either great or charge for next year's ACO event, I'm gonna buy a set from them.
Yeah, I think I might try. I need another set of bags because keep throwing mine outside with friends, and they get kind of dusty, and they feel like they need a wash, not for breaking in purposes, just for an actual wash.
I'm pretty sure I got a couple sets for sale. I literally have like 12 sets of bags, and I throw one.
Whereas Graham swaps every bad round he has.
To be fair, since I got them green Vipers, I've been pretty consistent at just throwing them.
Yeah.
For the most part. I think there's only been a handful of times when I'm not, but they're retired now. Now that we've got our Slicky Baggers sponsorship, I'll be throwing me Slicky Baggers bags at all tournaments, obviously apart from the ACO, and then I'll be doing the same as what Josh is going to do. I'll either to support Dan or John, I'll get a set of either great or charge bags.
Yeah, there should be a bag amnesty because I know I was speaking to Ashley Irving the other day, and she said I've got about 100 sets. I was like, I'll get you some shirts in the post. I'll pay for the postage. Just send me some bags. Because like when you get new players down to club nights to have a go, you always just need plenty of bags for people to pick up and have a go with. And when we go to these, we've got Ashby Sports Day on Sunday. So it's an opportunity for all the different sports clubs across Ashby to be in one place, and everyone goes round and tries all the different sports. So a couple of our new members in sort of the last 6 months have come from that event. So we're there on Sunday again, and it's just sending up.
I wish you guys had a train station because I would come up for that.
Yeah. I had a football team on Friday night, an under-8s football team. So, 12 kids and 12 parents all came and had a go. Just had a go. And there's a few of them that said, I might come down on a Tuesday and give it a go. And it's just the more times we can all get cornhole out there and go to a community event, the more it grows. And we'll find some superstars. We'll find some people who just pay, tournaments, and that's how we all grow it. So
the best future English player, the one who will break into the ACO or ACL and actually win stuff, has probably never even thrown a bag yet in this country.
Yeah,
they're still waiting to be found.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
Yeah, I mean,
Liam might argue otherwise, but I said it's still waiting to be found.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's one of those things, man. But you guys are doing a great job. I don't care what anybody says. I know I question a lot of things, and I don't question it because I'm trying to be an asshole or think I can do it better. I question it just because of, experience in doing these different tournaments and kind of seeing how things are ran, and really kind of question it, just trying to bring an outsider point of view to give ideas. I mean, it is what it is.
We know that. We do appreciate it. We appreciate the coverage and the opportunity to have a dialogue and the feedback we get, and which is why we wanted you guys to do the announcement, because it is talked about on here, and we love the fact that there's a forum for people to voice an opinion. So that's not us. So people might be a bit more honest with you, and then you can paraphrase it in a way that encourages discussion. So that's really useful. I know you give us some grief, but we take it for what it is, positive, and thank you from those guys.
Hey, we love the fact that you let us do it, man.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
So
no worries. Right, I'm going to go and pull some tape off my wife's feet and go to bed. See you all soon.
Janine, we said congrats. Well done, her.
No worries. Cheers, lads. Thank you very much. Speak soon. Bye.
Cheers, man. See you.
All right, man. Ben Gregory talking the new UKCL season coming up starting August 16th at the 108 in London. I'm excited for this venue, man. I am, because I grew up playing baseball. So when I've seen the video of Nick in there in the batting cage trying to hit, all I think is man, I want to get in there and give it a cut, dude. I want to give it a cut.
As you know, this year I've recently started becoming a fan of baseball, watching it.
Yeah.
A couple nights a week, I'm like watching whatever game I can find on the Fire Stick. So having never thrown a baseball or hit a baseball, I can't wait to get in that batting cage or throw some pitches in between games. I'm looking forward to it.
Maybe I should pitch to you.
Why not?
So, yeah, I'm excited about the new season, man, and I'm glad Ben came on. Like I said, there was a few questions, and I think he answered them. I think with the juniors and women's, I think it's going to have to be a kind of a tournament-based deal, man, because if you've only got one junior signing up, obviously you're not going to have a junior division.
Yeah.
If you've only got two, you might have just a one-off game, and nobody's got any problem with that. But yeah, I think it was good. I think we're in for a good season, man.
Yeah, definitely a good season ahead. As we've always said, we just want more cornhole, and that's what they're giving us. So
yeah, for sure.
So it's
for sure,
pretty much every month, more or less.
Yeah, with the exception of September and December.
Yeah, and to be fair, December is for family and Christmas, and none of us are going to have that much money with Christmas to be going traveling.
My kids can suffer 1 month. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Hey, in case you guys were wondering, man, I was using my Euro Trash koozie. So shout out to the Euro Trash guys out in Germany. In less than a week, one of the Euro Trash hosts, Woody, will become a club member of mine as he relocates to the UK. So we're picking him up in the club. We just got another guy, Aaron, who was a cornhole partner of EJ when they were out in Korea. And the kid can throw, man. He's good. He's a good player. So our club's got a couple new members that are coming on that are really good quality. So I'm hoping that that'll start elevating ours to get back into that, getting over that hump again, getting off that plateau, so to speak.
Definitely. And speaking of Euro Trash, KT, he's reached out today asking if know anybody at the UK Open looking for a partner. So if anybody's out there,
I did mention it to Micah, but KT also did tell me that he may have found a partner, so we'll have to see. But if you guys are interested, please just message us and let us know, and we'll run it by and see what he says.
Yeah.
Again, guys, your clubs out there. I get it. Some clubs are smaller than others. Some are bigger than others. But anything you can do to help fucking Manchester rebuild, dude.
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. Daniel owns great, and there's things that can be done, and I understand all that. But the fact of the matter is, even if they get it all back in insurance, it's going to be a while. It's going to be a long while.
Yeah, and
And if we're
given
gonna
that
preach,
it's the entire building, like
yeah, if we're going to preach community,
there's hundreds of people affected by that, so it's going to be a long, lengthy process of all them people that
long
lost.
investigate because they'll have to investigate everything first to see what started
Yeah.
the fire. It's going to be a long process, man. If we're a community, let's be a community. Let's do whatever you can to try to help out, man. Get your club donation. Every little bit helps. Every little bit helps in trying to buy some new boards or trying to get, something going. I mean, all the ACL boards were in there as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, let's come together. Let's come together big time, guys.
Yeah. No, but we'll get the Just Giving page shared to the
Put it up on the socials, yeah.
Yeah, so just done that. So literally any little helps.
For sure. Let's get moving and do that, guys.
Yeah.
Everybody knows when practices are, because the only people listening already know when their practices are.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't want to shout out everybody, but I mean, at the end of the day, the people who are listening already know when the practices are. What else? Some new merch has hit our sponsors page. Squeaky Baggers, they got some new shirts and stuff out, and I've seen them in person because Sven and Anthony had them at the Italian Open, and yeah, they look good, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's hit that up, man. And if you go online to order anything, just be 10 for 10% off. What else?
I think we're covered for the week.
I think that's about it. Understand that.
What are we going on this weekend?
Nothing.
Not Belgium this weekend. There was that.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. You're right. The ACL Europe Belgium. And it is Chris's last one. So Chris and Gavin are going to be looking to make a move and a mark. But it's going to be a stacked doubles field for sure. Expect some real good cornhole from that. So the ACL Europe page, they do a lot of live broadcasts, and I'd imagine they'll do it from Belgium as well.
But I was out in Belgium 2 years ago. It was broadcast, so I'd imagine it will be again.
If anybody wants to go, I'm down to go and split petrol and the crossing fee. Let's go on Friday. I would love that. Because I didn't go because I was supposed to go to the Hardy concert.
Yeah.
Then he canceled his European leg of the tour. So now I'm out both events, and I'm really pissed off about that.
Yeah.
So outside of that, man, I don't think we have much.
No. I think that's it for this week.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I think it is. All right. Well,
I'm Graham. Remember.
Just board it.
Just board it. Laters.
Peace out.